If you are holding the keys to an electric vehicle in 2026, you might be sitting on a financial time bomb. We've talked about the lease avalanche and the 500,000 cars hitting the market, but today we are going deeper. We aren't just talking about cars losing value, we are talking about EVs that have become almost worthless in the eyes of the secondary market. In 2026, the EV world has split into two very distinct camps. The modern standards, cars with native NACS charging, 300+ mile range, and high efficiency. And the legacy lemons. If your car falls into that second camp, the used market is currently running away from you. Buyers don't want them, dealers won't trade them, and the auction prices are looking like a total disaster. Why is this happening? It's a perfect storm of technical obsolescence. In 2026, if an EV doesn't have a native North American charging standard port or a battery that can charge in under 20 minutes, it's basically seen as a flip phone in a world of high-end smartphones. Today, we are counting down the 15 most worthless EVs in 2026, the cars that will cost you thousands just to get rid of. I'm Nick, and this is Nick's Car Review. Let's dive into the list. We're kicking things off at number 15 with a car from a brand we usually trust for resale, Toyota. But the BZ4X is proving that even a Toyota badge can't save a bad EV. In 2026, the biggest problem isn't just the range, it's the waiting game. While newer EVs are hitting 200 kilowatt charging speeds, the BZ4X, especially the all-wheel drive version, is still stuck in the past. Imagine you're on a road trip. A modern EV pulls up, charges in 18 minutes, and leaves. You're sitting there for nearly an hour just to get back on the road. In the used market of 2026, time is literally money. Used buyers are terrified of being charger bound, so they're offering bottom dollar. I'm seeing $45,000 cars struggling to even clear $18,000 at auction. If you bought one of these new, you're essentially paying a slow charge tax every single day you own it. Dealers are starting to treat these like hot potatoes. They want them off the lot as fast as possible. At number 14, we have the Subaru Solterra. It's basically the same car as the Toyota, but with an even bigger problem. It's an orphan. Subaru has already announced they're moving toward their own in-house EV designs, like the new Uncharted series. This leaves the Solterra as the forgotten twin that nobody asked for. The typical Subaru buyer wants to go off-road, use the X mode, and carry gear. But the real-world range on these is often sub 220 miles. In 2026, where 300 miles is the standard, that just doesn't cut it. Because there are so few of these on the road, parts are getting harder to find and technicians aren't as familiar with them. The resale value has completely cratered because adventure people don't want a car that can't actually get them to the trail and back without a 3-hour charging stop. Coming in at number 13 is a car that is arguably the most worthless EV ever sold in America, the Mazda MX-30. Let's be real, this was a compliance car. Mazda only built it to satisfy government rules. And it shows. Back in 2021, a 100-mile range was bad. In 2026, it's a total joke. This car has become the ultimate paperweight. We're seeing these show up at auctions for under $8,000. And even at that price, they sit for weeks. Nobody wants a used car that can't even handle a round-trip commute in a big city like Houston or LA. It doesn't have the new charging ports, it doesn't have the range, and it doesn't have a future. If you own one, you aren't really selling a car anymore. You're selling a very expensive golf cart with fancy doors. It's a financial trap, plain and simple. As we move up the list, the numbers start to get scarier. We're moving away from the small budget blunders and into the cars that cost as much as a small house, but are now worth less than a used laptop. These next few entries are where the legacy lemons really start to hurt the bank account. Coming in at number 12, we have the early models of the Nissan Ariya. Now, don't get me wrong, the Ariya was supposed to be Nissan's big comeback after years of relying on the Leaf. But for those who jumped in early, specifically the 2021 and 2022 front-wheel drive models, the used market has been brutal. In 2026, The industry has standardized on the NACS port, the Tesla-style plug, and these early Arias are stuck with older hardware. But the real kicker? Nissan actually slashed prices on new models recently to stay competitive. When the manufacturer drops the price of a new car by $6,000, it instantly destroys the value of every used one on the road. We are seeing early 2023 Engage trims that stickered for over $43,000, now trading in the low 20,000s. That's a 50% drop in just a couple of years. In 2026, if you're trying to sell an early Aria, you're competing with newer, cheaper inventory that has better software and faster charging. It's a quiet disaster for your bank account. At number 11 is the Jaguar I-Pace. This car was a pioneer. It won World Car of the Year. But in 2026, it has become the depreciation king. Jaguar has pivoted to being an ultra-luxury, low-volume brand, which means the I-Pace has been essentially left behind. The biggest fear for used buyers? Reliability. This car uses a very complex, aging battery cooling system that has been prone to expensive leaks. I've seen reports of early I-Pace models losing up to 90% of their value over 5 years. A car that cost $80,000 new is now being valued at less than a used Kia. Why? Because out-of-warranty repairs on a Jaguar EV are terrifying. If a single battery module fails, you could be looking at a $10,000 bill. In the 2026 market, buyers want peace of mind. And Jaguar and peace of mind aren't usually in the same sentence when it comes to early EV tech. It's a beautiful car to drive, but a total liability to own. Entering the top 10 is the Mercedes-Benz EQS. This is the definition of an executive nightmare. If you bought one of these new, I hope you're sitting down, because the EQS has one of the highest depreciation rates in the entire luxury segment. In 2026, some models have shed nearly 70% of their original MSRP in just 3 years. There are two main reasons for this. First, the styling. People have dubbed it the melted jelly bean look. In 2026, used luxury buyers want a car that looks like a prestigious Mercedes, not a futuristic blob. Second, the tech. Mercedes pushed the hyperscreen and a lot of subscription-based features. Used buyers are terrified that once the warranty is up, they'll be stuck paying monthly fees just to use the features the car already has. We're seeing EQS 450 plus models that originally cost $105,000 being listed in the low 40,000s. It's a tech-heavy flagship that is losing value faster than a high-end smartphone. At number 9, we have a car that breaks my heart because it is a masterpiece to drive, the early Porsche Taycan. If you're looking at a 2020 or 2021 4S or turbo model in 2026, you're looking at a financial cliff. The issue here isn't that the car is bad, it's that the tech was in its infancy. In 2026, the used market has become obsessed with one specific metric: battery health reports. Because early Taycans were designed to be driven hard, and because many owners relied heavily on 800-volt ultra-fast charging to show off the tech, the batteries are showing their age. We're seeing recharge scores and health reports coming back at 82% or 85% capacity. For a Porsche buyer, anything less than perfection is a deal breaker. You're seeing cars that had $150,000 MSRP now struggling to get $40,000 bids at auction. Buyers in 2026 would rather spend that $40,000 on a newer, refreshed Taycan with a better battery warranty. If you're an early adopter, you've essentially paid $100,000 for the privilege of beta testing Porsche's first EV. Number 8 is the Audi e-tron GT. It shares the same platform as the Taycan, but it doesn't have the Porsche badge to protect its value. In 2026, the e-tron GT has become a dinosaur in terms of its interior. While newer Audi models like the Q6 e-tron have massive, seamless screens and high-speed software, the e-tron GT feels like a relic from 2019. Dealers are currently sitting on these for 100 days or more. In the US market, luxury buyers want the latest gadgetry, and the e-tron GT just doesn't have it. It's a beautiful car, but when a used buyer compares it to a brand new Lucid or even a refreshed Model S, the Audi looks old. Auction prices are in a free fall, with some 2023 models losing $60,000 of their value in under 3 years. If you're trying to trade one in today, be prepared for a very insulting offer from the dealership. At number 7, we have the BMW i3, specifically the final edition models from 2021 and 2022. Now, I love the i3. It's a carbon fiber work of art. But in 2026, it has officially become a legacy trap. The problem is physics and insurance. Because the body is made of carbon fiber reinforced plastic, it is incredibly expensive to repair. In 2026, insurance companies have wised up. They are totaling these cars for minor fender benders because the cost to repair the carbon tub is more than the car is worth. On top of that, the i3 uses very specific skinny tires that are becoming harder and more expensive to source. If you can't find tires and you can't afford the insurance, the car is effectively worthless. We're seeing brilliant, low mileage i3s being sold for parts value because nobody wants the headache of keeping them on the road. It's a sad end for a car that was once the future, but in 2026, it's just a liability. At number 6, we have the king of hype from just a few years ago, the GMC Hummer EV. In 2026, the honeymoon is officially over. When this beast first launched, people were paying double the MSRP just to be the first on the block with crab walk. But now, the market has realized that you can't fight physics. At over 9,000 pounds, this truck is too heavy for many residential roads and too wide for most actual off-road trails. But the real reason it's becoming a worthless asset in 2026 is the battery. Because the Hummer requires a massive 200 kilowatt hour plus battery pack to move its own weight, the eventual replacement cost is a ticking time bomb. We are seeing estimates for battery replacements hitting $35,000 or more. On the used market, that potential bill makes a high mileage Hummer a toxic asset. Edition 1, models that people once paid $150,000 for, are now struggling to find buyers at $65,000. It's essentially the least green EV ever made. And as charging costs per mile rise, the Hummer's poor efficiency is making it a very expensive paperweight for the average driver. Number 5 is the ultimate cautionary tale for the 2026 market. With the total collapse and bankruptcy of Fisker, the Ocean has become a literal ghost. If you own one of these, you aren't just looking at depreciation, you're looking at a total loss. In 2026, there is no official service network, no factory software updates, and worst of all, no spare parts. Imagine your window motor breaks or a simple sensor fails. In a normal car, that's a $200 fix. In a Fisker Ocean in 2026, that makes the car undrivable. Insurance companies have almost entirely blacklisted the car because they can't source parts for repairs, leading them to total the car for even minor scratches. Dealers won't even take them as trade-ins for $5,000 because they don't want the liability. It's the definition of a zombie car. It looks alive, but it has no support system to keep it running. A $70,000 investment has essentially turned into a lawn ornament for thousands of owners. At number 4, we have the early Lucid Air Grand Touring models. Now, Lucid makes incredible technology, some say the best in the world. But in 2026, the secondary market demand for the Air has cratered for a very specific reason, the Pure model. Back in 2022 and 2023, people were spending $140,000 plus for the Grand Touring to get that 500-mile range. But in 2026, the brand new Lucid Air Pure is available for around $70,000 with better software, a NACS charging port, and enough range for 99% of people. Why would a used buyer pay $70,000 for a 3-year-old out-of-warranty Grand Touring when they can get a brand new Pure for the same price with a full warranty? The depreciation has been catastrophic. We're seeing early high-spec models lose over $80,000 in value in under 36 months. Unless you live near one of Lucid's few service centers, the startup brand risk is just too high for most used buyers, making the resale market for these early flagships almost non-existent. Coming in at number 3 is the Chevrolet Blazer EV, specifically those first-year 2024 models. This is a classic case of a bad reputation sticking to a good car. Even though Chevy worked their tails off to fix the software glitches and stop sale orders by 2025, the 2024 VINs are essentially marked in the eyes of the used market. In 2026, buyers have access to the newer Equinox EV and the refreshed 2026 Blazer, both of which are cheaper and have the updated charging hardware. This has forced the prices of the early 2024 models into an absolute freefall. We're seeing units that originally stickered for $52,000 being listed for $21,000 to $25,000. That is a 50% loss in roughly 2 years. When you have a first model year vehicle that gained fame for breaking down during media tests, the used market treats it like it has a permanent check engine light. If you're a buyer, it's a high-spec bargain. But for the original owner, it's a financial scar that won't heal. Number 2 is going to shock some of the Tesla fans. But the numbers don't lie. Tesla officially ending production of the Model X in 2026 has sent a shockwave through the used market. For years, the Model X was the status symbol. But as the factory lines at Fremont are being cleared for robots and autonomy, the Model X is being retired without a replacement. This has created a production end panic. The reality is that the Model X is the most complex car Tesla ever built. Those Falcon wing doors are amazing until they're out of warranty and the manufacturer has stopped building the car. Used buyers in 2026 are running for the hills because they're afraid of long-term parts availability and maintenance costs. A 2023 Model X Plaid that cost $110,000 is now being valued in the low 40,000s in some markets. That is the highest dollar loss in Tesla's history. Without a new model to keep the hype alive, the older ones are just becoming expensive liabilities. If you're holding the keys to a Model X in 2026, the status has officially been replaced by stress. And finally, the number 1 most worthless EV relative to its peak hype in 2026, the 2022 to 2023 Rivian R1S Launch Edition. This is the ultimate generation gap disaster. In the early days, flippers were paying $120,000 for these because they were rare. But in 2026, the Rivian R2 has finally arrived. The R2 is the R1 killer. It's smaller, more efficient, uses the new NACS charging standard natively, and starts at just $45,000 brand new. Why would a used buyer in 2026 pay $70,000 for a 3-year-old R1S with version 1.0 hardware and high mileage when they can get a brand new, more reliable R2 for half the price? The supply of used R1S units is now way higher than the demand. We are seeing early R1S launch editions, the ones people fought over clearing at auction, for as low as $48,000. That is a massive 60% loss from the peak prices. The lesson of 2026 is simple. The second generation always eats the first one for breakfast. The lesson for 2026 is clear. The EV market moves at the speed of software. Unlike gas cars, where a 10-year-old SUV still has a utility floor, a 3-year-old EV can become obsolete if its charging tech or its manufacturer disappears. The worthless 15 we looked at today all share one common trait. They were either overhyped, under-engineered, or abandoned by their creators. In the lease avalanche of 2026, you cannot afford to be an early adopter of a dead-end platform. If you are a buyer, this is your cheat sheet. Stay away from these 15 unless you are planning to drive them into the ground and don't care about resale. If you are a seller, if your car is on this list, my advice is to sell yesterday. Take the hit now, because by the end of 2026, these prices are only going one way down. I want to hear from you. Do you own one of these depreciation disasters? Are you stuck in a Fisker or a high mileage EQS? Drop your stories in the comments. Let's warn the rest of the community before they make the same mistake. I'm Nick, this is Nick's Car Review, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.